So we're here at CES 2019 and HP has brought to the show a couple different Chromebooks, one that we kind of knew was coming and one we had no idea was coming. So let's take a look at both of those. But before we get into all that, this video is brought to you by NordVPN. It's the VPN of choice for millions of people, including Chromebook users. If you'd like to learn more about them and their services, go to chromeunbox.com/NordVPN to get started today. First up, let's talk about the AMD-powered devices that HP is releasing. So along with Acer, HP are going to be the first people to bring AMD-powered Chromebooks to the market, and we're talking like late January we're going to see these things. They're going to be powered by either the A4 or A6 chip, 4 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of internal storage, a lot of stuff that we've talked about before in things like Apollo Lake Chromebooks. So we're talking inexpensive builds and affordability as the main priority here. But even though we're talking about a $269 starting price, there's some nice things that HP has brought to the table here because they're getting to save some money when it comes to using an AMD chip over an Intel chip. And so you get the same great keyboard deck that we've seen like on the Chromebook X2 and on the X360. You're getting, if you go for the 1080p screen, which we're thinking is going to be somewhere around the $300 range if you bump up for that one. If you get the 1080p touchscreen on this one, we've put them side by side even with the nicer HP offerings like the X360, and I think it's pretty much the same panel or something pretty close to it. So you're getting a really great display if you opt for the better one. You're getting great input methods, so the trackpad feels really good, is spacious and all that kind of stuff. So even though, yeah, it's all over a plastic build, I think these are going to be pretty compelling packages, and we ran some benchmarks, and it's a little bit early still, but think in terms of with the A6, something a notch better than what we're seeing with the Apollo Lake chips. So with the Pentium N4200 like is in the Acer 15, and a little bit better than the 3450 that we've seen in so many education Chromebooks. So we're probably talking a cheaper price and even better performance with some pretty decent external pieces in the screen and the keyboard and the trackpad. So it seems pretty compelling, and we'll hold out for further review obviously once we have our hands on these and can really run them through the paces. But the devices look pretty good. We've got a white, a blue, and a gray, and it look like they can take a beating. So I think HP's done a pretty good job here with their first AMD Chromebook. Now, moving on to the other Chromebook that HP brought along with them, we had no idea this one was even in existence at all. It is kind of a different take on the X360 that we've already got our initial hands-on with and the reviews coming, but it takes that device and adds a couple little perks to it. So we get an all-aluminum deck where the keyboard is, so that's upgraded from plastic on the X360. And then we get some better processor options and some different RAM options, some different storage options. HP is aiming this one directly at enterprise customers, and they've said, at least at the early going and maybe forever, this one won't be available in consumer channels at all. You'd have to go through some sort of reseller to get it. But we're talking from a new Pentium chip that we've not seen in a Chromebook all the way up to a Core i7. So that new Pentium chip is actually what they had in the one on the showroom floor. It is the 4415U, and that's kind of like a U-series version of the one we saw back a couple years ago in the Asus C302 that Best Buy sold that we were pretty impressed with at the time. And this one impresses similarly. So we're talking the very low end of this device configuration, getting like 24,000 on Octane. So it was performing really, really well. It's got that same great 14-inch full HD panel that the X360 has. You add on the aluminum, 8 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of internal storage. It can go up to 128. It can go all the way up to a Core i7, so an i3, i5, i7 option there, and all the way up to 16 gigs of RAM. Now, we don't know the pricing on this, and we don't know if we even will until these things start showing up in those different channels where enterprise customers get their devices. So unless you're an enterprise customer, I don't even know that this Chromebook is going to be one that you're going to get your hands on, but who knows? We might end up seeing, just like with the HP Chromebook 13 G1, that it kind of starts in that channel and eventually starts leaking out into consumer versions. But with the X360 being out there and being so similar and just so excellent, honestly, I don't know that we're going to see these at Best Buys and Costco's and stuff like that. But it is cool that HP is doing it, and it is a great looking device, and I think a lot of different corporations are going to find some success using it in the future. But guys, that's it for this one. Keep it locked to the channel for everything else we've got coming from CES 2019. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button below, and until next time, we'll see you.